Hello, thanks for joining this latest edition of Behind the Tapes, produced by Tigers Plus for Tigers Plus members and beyond at this time of no speedway action to be able to go along and enjoy. Hope you are enjoying the series. Hope you enjoyed the most recent episode where I interviewed James Greaves. All of those available to watch again if you have, or even if you haven't watched them already, via the video section of the Tigers Plus Facebook page. To tonight, then, tonight's guest can be a little difficult to pin down for an interview. He's either tinkering with his bikes, or in training, or travelling long distances to go and race his bike, or giving some time, as he does, to his many sponsors around the world, and they literally are. But I've managed to pin him down for a little chat. He's literally a tornado. Did you see what I did there? Let's cross down under now and speak to the man himself, Connor Bailey. Good evening, Connor.
Hey Derek, how's it going?
Not too bad. You're looking fit and well, and got a bit of sunshine, a bit of winter sun, Connor.
Yeah, it's still hotter than pretty much everything I saw last season. So no, it's only up.
And of course, I'm talking to you. I'm in Glasgow. You're in Mildura. Most unexpectedly, of course, the world's been turned upside down in 2020. It's just not happened the way that we expected it to this year, Connor.
Yeah, well, it's not happened at all, unfortunately. But I think it's better that it got cancelled at the start of the season, or got held off at the start of the season than midway through, because I think midway through we'd have had something to finish, and I think it would have just been a lot more disruption in the season. But no, it's unfortunate, but I think better safe than sorry. You don't want to try and run through with all the social distancing and having to turn fans away and all that. But yeah, is what it is.
And you are in Mildura, which, and my geography of Australia isn't wonderful, Connor. Just keep it straight. You're next door to New South Wales, and we're hearing on our news back in the UK, New South Wales and Victoria, there's a bit of a lockdown in terms of travelling between those two states.
Yeah, so we can still go into Victoria, because I technically live on the other side of the border, but we can still go in because it's you can go in within a 50-kilometer radius, because it's a border town pretty much. So the main shopping center is, of course, across the border, so we need to go to that and restock every now and again. So I think it's just a matter of applying for a permit, and then we can just come and go as we please, as long as we don't go outside of that 50-kilometer radius. We're all right.
And I've got to ask, Connor, just because I spotted it, are you wearing that Glasgow Tigers top for comfort or
Yeah.
for warmth?
For both, bit of both, yeah.
Looking good. You're rocking the Glasgow Tigers attire. Connor, just
No, I
remind
love
us.
it.
Sorry, say again.
I said, oh no, I love it. It's
Good.
good.
Just remind us, Connor, the sort of chain of events, because your mum and dad and yourself were living here in Scotland, prepping for the new season, um, thinking about the boot camp and the start of the season. But correct me if I'm wrong. You had all popped over to Australia for your sister's wedding. Is that right?
Yeah. We just finished the boot camp, and then pretty much flew out the very next day to Australia. And we got here, and it was all sort of leading up to it, and then the venue just said, "Oh, nah, sorry, we're not gonna allow it. We don't want to take the risk." And then after that, it just kind of everything just kind of skyrocketed forward, so to speak. We had all the restrictions put in place over in the UK, and the season brought to a halt, effectively. Yeah, it was a bit good and bad timing, I suppose, to be stuck here at the start
Yeah.
of the season. Wasn't looking good, and then I was a bit relieved when it got held off, and yeah, I just can't believe how far it's come. We're still here like 4 months later, and still awaiting a season. But I'm happy to be getting a little bit of riding, and just keeping active. I think there's worse places to be stuck anyway. That's for sure.
Well, absolutely, and we'll talk a little bit about what you've been up to and how you've been keeping yourself busy. But I guess from your family's point of view, you hadn't you and your mum had lived the longest out of Australia here in Scotland. Your dad had joined you towards the latter part of last season, and I guess you were slowly acclimatising to life in the UK, and suddenly you found yourself plunged back into life in Aussie. Has that been relatively easy for you to step back into?
Yeah, I think it's definitely coming back. I think when we arrived back, we just caught the tail end of the summer. So we got a few hot days, and it was nice. I don't think any more than that would have been much. Would have been nice, because beyond that, it becomes the same every day. You're just hot. You can't cool down. And no, it was like a holiday at first. We came back, beautiful weather, and got to see all the family and catch up and that. And now we're here, and it's winter again. We still get a bit of sun, but it's cooling down, and it's how should I say it? Just darkening up now for the winter season. But I'm looking forward to hopefully some riding throughout the winter, and just seeing what comes of it. I mean, hope the restrictions don't last too much longer.
Connor, we all know that you take your speedway very seriously, and you put an awful lot of effort into it. I've heard lots of reports of you practically camping out at Ashfield when you weren't racing. Working away on your bikes and things
Yeah.
as you like to do. I would imagine you were very much gearing up to your first full season over here in the UK on the back of what you achieved last year. I know the timing in some respects was good, because all this happened at the start of the season rather than during it. But
Yeah.
because given your keenness to have your first full season over here, in a sense, has it been more frustrating for you?
Yeah, definitely. While there's positives to be taken, I think it's also very frustrating that I was just getting ready to, kick off and pick up where I left off, and I think it was going to be a big season for me in terms of development and points, hopefully. But yeah, I think I can hopefully keep riding over here, and also at any chance I can, and when I get back over to the UK once it's all open up, I could pick up where I left off here, and yeah, be nice and fresh. I think that's the key.
Is it fair to say, Connor, that you settled in quite quickly at Glasgow? You feel quite comfortable in the surroundings. I mentioned that you spend a lot of time around the stadium, so I guess just being able to do that is a bonus.
Yeah, I was a bit wobbly to start with, and then had a few good meetings, and really got to know the team better, and all the management and that, and just felt right at home after that. It was great to be traveling around with such a good group, and as every time I went better, it just helped me do better the next time. It was good encouragement.
And just going back to that boot camp, so you managed to spend some time with who would have been your teammates in 2020. Tell us a little bit about how that boot camp went.
Yeah, it was fun. I got to see some real snow, and got to put my body to the test in the gym, and we learned a lot over the course of the days, and it was a bit anticlimactic how it all ended, because we got geared up, we met all the fans, and had the big night, and then after that I sort of left the country, and I've not been back. So no, it's unfortunate, but I'm looking forward to riding with everyone eventually once it's going.
And here we are, Connor, having this conversation in the early part of July, and had all things gone to plan, you would have been a very busy young man at this point.
Yeah, much more busy than I am now. I'm sort of just left twiddling my thumbs and cleaning a bike 10 times in a row, just going over it over and over again, and finding a different thing each time. But yeah, I think by this point we would have had a few rain-offs, and we would have been trying to make up the time by now. But no, I can definitely say that I miss the busyness, because I've
Yeah.
not got much better, not got much better things to do anyway in the meantime.
And in terms of prep this year, Connor, had you worked on anything in particular, given your learnings from last year, be that physicality or machinery?
Yeah, I made a few setup changes, and like just basic changes that I thought would help me keep going on the upwards curve. But I think the biggest thing I did in preparation for this season was physical. I really just was hitting the gym all winter, and working on my core strength and just overall strength. Um, and I was ready to kick off the season. I was strong and fit, and coming back to Australia, I sort of had that break that I always planned, and then after that, I had to source some equipment, and get back into the training now that I'm going to be stuck here. So yeah, it's I'm still preparing, and I'm still preparing for the next season, and counting down the days until we can go again.
Absolutely. Connor, we know that you're not a guy to sit around for too long, and we've seen on social media that you've been particularly busy. So, did you arrange for one of your bikes to be shipped back down under?
I would have loved to, but unfortunately, I've not got anyone in the UK who could have gone to pack it up because everyone's all locked into their houses. But no, I luckily had a lot of support jump at the chance to give me some machinery to ride here, and I got a full bike from my old mechanic Ash Watson up in Adelaide. He sent his bike down for me to ride, just chucked my covers on it, and I also got a roller sent down from the Goman family, who it's been an amazing support. I've got two race ready bikes in pretty much the drop of a hat, so I'm good to go for the Aussie season in terms of bikes. And yeah, I think it's been a bit of an eye opener really at how quick things can turn around, and I'm looking at racing in Australia again.
Well, listen, that speaks volumes for you, Connor, given how much support you've been able to harness so quickly to help you out. So, and we've seen from social media you've been out doing some riding, I guess, on is it a salt flats, and more recently you went to Curry Curry.
Yeah, well, originally I couldn't find a track to ride at, so I just being me, I remembered that a few years back I actually rode a sidecar out at the Salt Flats, and I remembered that there was a track scratched out there, and I knew we hadn't had much rain recently, so I thought, we may as well go out there for a look. It's only half an hour, 40-minute drive from our place,
Okay,
so we went out there, and yeah, the same track was still there, nice and flat, and I just
perfect.
just went out and had a couple of rides. And yeah, that drew a bit of a crowd from. There was a couple of people camping up on the hill, probably about 100, and they came down to watch, sitting on the old burnt out cars and stuff that were sitting out there, and that was pretty fun, to show them how a speedway bike works because they likely hadn't seen one.
Did
And
you hand out your sponsorship material, Connor?
no, I didn't have any on me at that point. I didn't expect a crowd, but no, I did get a challenge though. I did get a challenge from someone on an old sort of farm bike. He thought he could have me, but I don't think the I don't think the electric start 230 was any chance for the 500. Unfortunately for him,
You should have swapped. You
no,
should have
no.
swapped to make it more of a challenge, Connor.
I don't think I let him near my bike.
and then
No, but
more recently, we've seen over the weekend. I think you were
yep.
up at Craig Boris's sort of training camp up at Curry Curry.
Yeah, as soon as he got the opportunity, he set up a day, and me and the likes of Sam Masters and a few other riders were up there having a ride, and yeah, it was good to get on a proper track as opposed to self flat and actually try a few things that I might on a real speedway track, and it was also good to just blow out the cobwebs yet again in preparation for the season. And no, it was good. No, I had a good time.
And
Great weekend.
give us a sense, Connor, of the distance. I've no idea how far away Curry Curry would be from Mildura.
Well, it's a 13-hour drive from here to there, and then 13 hours back. So a 26-hour round trip for about, I don't know, 10 minutes total on the track.
You could fly
When
to Australia in that time.
yeah, you could actually. It's 21-hour flight to Australia. So no, it's. I used to make that trip pretty much, probably monthly back when I was on the 250 and just getting going on the 500. But yeah, I don't miss the travel. That's for sure. Because I think in Britain the longest trip was probably what 9 or 10 hours down to Eastbourne. So
That's a breeze for you, Connor.
yeah, in comparison, then yeah, and it's all on the motorway. There's no
Yeah.
bashing through a single lane highway at night. No, not at all. Perfect driving over there.
And you've touched already upon being ready for the Australian season. We know there's a track locally in Mildura. When would you expect meetings to come around and get a chance to get out on that track?
Well, I'm not too sure personally about Mildura, but I know that Gilman Speedway in Adelaide's opening up uh, very soon. They're already running practices and they've got meetings planned. All that I need to wait for is for the Adelaide border in Victoria to be open up, and then I can get there. Because you can, as it is right now, I think you can cross, but if you get there, you have to wait 14 days to isolate and make sure you've not brought the virus with you. So that obviously wouldn't work for a speedway meeting, which is supposed to just go there for the
Yeah.
meeting and come home. But no, I know that as soon as that border does open up, I'll be there as soon as I can, and racing in a couple of hopefully title meetings and trophy meetings up in Adelaide. That'll be definitely my first priority.
Good. Connor, let's stop and give ourselves a treat. Let's look back to one of your heat wins last year around Ashfield, and this is you in action if I remember correctly, on a wet Tuesday night against Newcastle. And
Yeah, my favourite conditions.
let's have a look at you in action just now.
All right.
There you are, Connor. What a peach of a gate from gate number 4 there to lead for 4 laps and take that win. Do you remember that particular night? The conditions weren't ideal,
Yeah.
but you absolutely revelled in them.
I loved them. I think I don't know what I did in the end of the setup, but it was working better than I could ever get it to work on the dry track. That's for sure. Originally, I thought I made a bit of a flyer, but watching back the video, I think I just gated perfectly. I don't think I could get much better a gate if I tried.
Connor, I was going to ask you now that you've had a number of months racing over here in the UK. Do you, and you know, you can disagree with this if you wish to, of course, but do you feel, or do you now appreciate more the two clubs that you've signed for, Glasgow and Bellevue in the National League, given the tracks and I guess the setups at both of those clubs?
Oh yeah, definitely. Coming from Australia, the difference in venues is just like night and day. There's you go over there and you see the Ashfield Stadium. There's a proper stadium with seating and lighting and like a cafe and a full bar. And you come here and it's all sort of, I don't know, I don't want to put it down, but I think the word would just be amateur. Like there's a few nice venues, of course, like the one up here at Gilman. That's probably the nicest one, I would say, right after Pinjar Park. And yeah, it's just crazy to go over to the UK and race at somewhere like the National Speedway Stadium, for instance, where it's all just nothing. There's not a single thing out of place. It's all just perfectly prepared. And yeah, it's after a season in the UK, I can definitely appreciate the effort that goes into it and the just the quality altogether of British Speedway, I think.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, but listen, given the setup in Australia, just think of some of the big name riders, the talent on the world stage who have come through that conveyor belt of speedway in Australia. It's quite awesome when you think of all of those names, Crump and Holders and Lee Adams, etc.
Yeah, definitely. I think that just speaks volumes about, it's not so much the venue that matters. While you might have a sort of rundown facility, it's mainly dependent on the track. You can have a really good track surrounded by a dump if you want, but it's the track that produces the riders. And I think that we've got some of the best tracks in the world, I would say, on their day, if they're prepared well and they've got ideal conditions. I think that in terms of racing, I don't think you can beat it. There's a variety of tracks here, a variety of different surfaces, and near perfect conditions all the time. It might be a little bit too hot sometimes. So yeah, but no, I think that's why Australia produces so many good riders, I guess, because we've got we've got a more tight knit community that verse each other more often, and I think it just produces a more competitive environment.
No, that makes sense, Connor. Listen, look, thinking back to last season, I don't know if you allow yourself to to ponder on what you achieved last year, but could you put your finger on perhaps your biggest learnings on and off track from last year?
I don't know, because I pretty much, since I arrived, I pretty much changed everything about everything. But no, I think that my biggest learning last year on track, I would say, not too sure really, because I learned a lot, and I think the major thing that I took away from the season was just differences in the setup. You know how the motor's set up, and what type of track it'll work on, and just what to do in certain situations. Because I don't think I learned much riding wise. Like I obviously did subconsciously, but
Yeah,
nothing that I could put my finger on. I think the main thing that I can recall like consciously changing is just the setup of the bikes, and the way they're running. The strength of the motors, and countless things I changed. But yeah, no, I think it was definitely a good season in terms of learning mechanically. Because I already knew how to do everything, and now I know when to do everything.
okay,
If that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And what about off track? Anything that surprised you, or anything that you've sort of adopted from life in the UK?
Off track, I would say it's got something to do with the mechanics again, but you know, in Australia, when you race, you've got at the very least probably a week to clean your bike before the next meeting. But when I got there, I was cleaning my bike every second day, sometimes sometimes twice in a week, and yeah, it was sort of refining that process down from hours, or sometimes leaving some of it for the next day, to just getting the bikes out the van and just stripping them apart, smashing through the cleaning, making sure everything's all right, then just putting them back together and getting off down the road to the next meeting. And I think that was the biggest off track thing I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Just to
Is that
just how to clean things quicker, and just efficiency, overall
yeah, just
efficiency. I
that sort
think
of
was the
organisation,
biggest
really.
off track
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the accents and the dialects around the UK? You handling those okay?
Yeah, no, I did all right. I think I only had to ask a few a few people. Sorry, what did you say? Or yeah, I misheard a few people, but no, all in all, I think I did all right. And half the people I've spoken to since I got back here have said, "Oh, you've got a Pommy accent now." So yeah,
Do you,
apparently I'm already picking it up, but I can't hear it myself. I don't think.
I was going to ask if you find yourself using any new words in your vocabulary, like we or
I think I've used "we" a couple of
yeah.
times, but I reckon that was ironic saying it, laugh. But yeah, I think the more time I spend over there, the more of the accent, the more of the dialect I'm going to pick up, just without even knowing. So
We'll work on
no,
you, Connor.
it's
We'll work on you. What about
yeah, no one will be able to understand me.
what about the tracks, the circuits over here in the UK? So you talked about the variety over there in Australia, and I would imagine the same applies in spades here in the UK. There's quite a variety, isn't it, in terms of size and shape. Which are the standout ones that you enjoyed most, and perhaps the ones that you least enjoyed?
I don't know really. It's a tough one to answer because I can enjoy riding a track, but it might be my worst track. Like I enjoyed riding at Eastbourne, but I didn't score that high there. Like it's a good track to ride. I like the way the bends work, and how you really have to back it into the bends.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of just pure performance, I really enjoyed riding at Glasgow as well. It offered me once I learned how to ride the track, I think it offered me a bit of an advantage over the visiting riders, just knowing certain lines, or a certain little part of the banking that'll give me the speed I need. And yeah, I think I used it a few times to my advantage and thought, oh yeah, this is what a home track advantage feels like.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I think definitely Glasgow's up there as well as Eastbourne, and I really enjoyed riding at Kent as well. That sort of track, just the
Hmm.
ones where you got to fly down the straight and then just back it into the bends. I
Okay.
think probably the best prepared track of that size and shape would be Wolverhampton. I think when we went there to verse Cradley, and I just loved that track. It's had a really good patch of drive coming off the second bend, and I just liked the way it felt to ride. You know, the way you got to throw it into the bends and then just hang off the side to keep it turning.
That's it's
It's good.
interesting to identify those tracks in particular, Con. And one thing, I'm no expert, but one thing that I think I've noticed over the years is sometimes you get a young rider, particularly one who's new to the UK, and you know it's not unusual for that young rider just to be a little bit cautious in that first season and perhaps stick to the inside line and that type of thing, and that's something that you absolutely didn't do. You were not afraid to move out wide if that's what you needed to do. Is that the type of thing you were talking about around Nashville? You've got some confidence to pick up those variety of lines.
See, I think it all depended on my confidence, really, because like there were definitely. I mean, I personally feel like in my first few meetings, I took my time and you know just sort of wobbled, so to speak. But no, I think that like the bigger sort of tracks, like going to Glasgow or Bellevue or even Somerset, those were the type of tracks where I could look at them and just know that, oh, I can ride that easily, you know. And when I rode them, they felt exactly how I thought they would feel. So that just gave me the confidence to push harder and, you know, go around the outside of people, or just to push harder in general. I think it was all reliant on my confidence. Like when I went to Edinburgh, I didn't really like it, or I was put off by something, and just because the confidence was down, I just rode worse as a result, and changed something in the setup that made me ride worse
Okay.
again as a result. So no, but you know, now I've been there. Same as Beric. You know, now I've been to both of them. I've got them sorted. I should just be able to go back and at least do better than I did by some margin. I'm looking forward to going back to Edinburgh anyway, because you know it's another one of them tracks that I like the shape of,
Yep.
and I think when I work it out, I can hopefully have that same advantage of just the confidence of the bike under me on the track I'm on. I think.
And that confidence thing, Kodak, because over many years, with I've heard lots and lots of riders talk about confidence and speedway being 90% of speedway being in your head and all that good stuff. Is that something? Is that something that you can work on? Do you have some techniques to help you with that?
I think the best thing to ensure confidence is just having goals. You know, if you sort of reach a goal, however small it is, if you thought it was a hard thing to reach, then you're obviously going to have that release of, wow, I did that, you know, and then
Yeah,
you can build on that, and eventually you're setting goals like, oh, I'm just gonna fly around the track and not let anyone pass me. And you know, once you do that, it's you know, you've got maximum confidence on that track. I think that, yeah, confidence is all a result of goal setting and achieving the small goals that you set for yourself.
but when you go to tapes, Connor, are you conscious or highly conscious of who you're lining up against? I remember a couple of heats at Ashfield last season where you took some scalps of visiting heat leaders. Ben Barker, I remember in particular, you beat him around Ashfield. Is that something you were aware of at the time, or that you can look back on and gain that confidence that you're talking about?
Yeah, you see, a few of the riders, you know, I pull up to the tapes and I try and figure out like, oh, who's that? Like I don't recognize the suits. You know,
Yeah,
my first season, I can remember a few times I just pulled up and thought, I've got no idea who I'm versing aside from my own teammate, and you know, I don't think it's so much who I'm versing. I think that whenever I pull up to the tapes, I've noticed myself, you know, if I really think about it after the fact, that I notice myself just picking apart anyone else on the start line. You know, when I make my rut, I make my rut, and then I sit back and just let everyone finish. And as I'm doing that, I've caught myself a few times just going, oh, look what he's doing. Like, you know, he looks like absolute rubbish. That rut's not going to get him anything. And it might be the opposite. You know, he might have the best rut in the gate. But I think that ties into
yeah,
confidence. You know, I'm subconsciously just setting myself up to feel like I'm the best. You know, I have
yeah.
the best chance out of anyone on the start.
And and,
And
and,
I've
and
got I've got no idea when I started doing that. But yeah,
yeah, and listen, why shouldn't you line up at the tapes and be confident about beating any of the other three riders? Looking back on what you did achieve last year, Conor, you quite proud of what you managed to do, given it all started in a bit of a, I was going to say a bit of a whirlwind, a bit of a tornado in terms of you having to get to Glasgow very quickly.
I think that for my first season, I think all I can remember is that the main goal I set for myself is to just not score zero. no, regardless of what I had to do, I just didn't want to score zero. And I did it. I think I did it like twice or maybe three times over the course of the season. But that was my main goal, to not score zero. And when I go into a meeting saying I just don't want to score zero, and I come out with like 7+1, you
Mm-hmm.
can just imagine. You can just imagine the pure elation and confidence for the next meeting I've got going into it. Like,
Of course, yeah.
I'd come in here not wanting to score nothing, and then I go out one of the top point scorers. So I think, yeah, I'm definitely proud of what I've done, and I'm just looking forward to building on that. I think definitely.
Good. And one thing I wanted to ask you about, I did touch on this in the introduction. You appear to be very adept, Connor, at attracting sponsorship. And I mentioned you've got sponsors all over the planet, and you have, based on
Yeah.
what I can see. And I know you're looking after your sponsors very seriously, which is always the right thing to do. But speedway racing over here in the UK would be super tough without the backing of all the sponsors you have, Connor.
Oh, I think it would be pretty much impossible unless I had my own successful business behind me. But um, yeah, I think that as much as I like to think I'm not, I'm definitely a people person, and I just talk to everyone. And I think that all the wide range of people I've got supporting me is just a result of talking to everyone, and just they might just like the way I present myself for whatever reason, and go, oh, I'm going to sponsor him. And I don't really talk to people to attract them as a sponsor.
Yeah.
I just sort of gain friends, and through that I get support. And yeah, yeah, I think just being a people person has helped me gain a lot of support and sponsorship as a result.
It's a good way to be, Connor. Keep that going. You're a nice lad, and people obviously take that on board. Am I right in saying, because my memory's not as good as yours, before the boot camp this year, did you were involved? Correct me if I'm wrong. You were involved with the Great Britain under 21 squad in some sort of training camp. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah. So I went down to the Isle of Wight for, I think they had a like a 2-3 day like educational training thing, and there was supposed to be 2 days of riding, but obviously one of them got rained off, being anywhere related to the UK. But no, we got a good day of riding, and invaluable lessons and stuff that we learnt from the likes of nutritionists, and we had a few good training sessions, like as a sort of, here's what you should be doing, and like here's the muscle groups you want to work, and all sorts of things. And it was good to be included in something like that. And I think I definitely got plenty out of it. And again, it was just great to get out on track as well, on
Yeah.
when I don't think anyone else was really running at that time. And yeah, I pretty much got the only ride in the UK before COVID came along. But
And I imagine,
yeah.
Connor, being part of that setup, being connected to it, being involved in it, is exactly where you would want to be given this stage of your young career.
Yeah, definitely. It's just good exposure, isn't it? But it's also good to be involved in something, and I enjoyed being accepted into a group for once. And yeah, no, I think that it would be great to continue working with them, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what the future brings.
And just to turn that, let's be positive. Let's look ahead to 2021. I know you've got an Aussie season to take part in before then,
Yep.
but keep yourself fit and fresh and all that good stuff. Return to the UK 2021. Would you be supportive, Connor, if it was agreed here in the UK that all the 2020 squads remain intact for 2021?
Yeah, I can't see why not. No one's raced. I don't think there should be any reason in changing them. If A, none of our averages have changed, or B, everyone's happy staying on the same team. Because aside from a shift in averages, I don't think there would be any reason for the teams to change. So I can't see why not. Yeah, I can't see why not. That's for sure.
And given the sort of chemistry amongst the lads back in March at that boot camp, I think I know Cammy and Peter and all you riders as well as the fans were really looking forward to testing that team against the rest in the championship this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be a good composition, because we've got a pretty experienced group this year. Everyone's sort of been around the block, or some way or another, and I think it's only really me, Sam, and Brock that are sort of young on the team. so I think it'll be good to learn from the more experienced guys, and and see how they do things, because they have been in it seemingly forever, and why not use some of their knowledge?
Absolutely,
But yeah,
Connor.
I'm looking forward to it, and I hope we can keep the same squads, because I don't see a reason why not. Anyway.
Yeah, hopefully 2021 the world has returned to something like the normality that we all know, and that will allow a full speedway season to take part. And I think it would be great. I think it would be really great to retain the 7 riders that we had put together this season, because they look to be an exciting and very capable team for Glasgow. Connor, listen, I appreciate you taking some time out to talk to us. I know you've got family stuff to take care of as well. I was going to ask, just to close, do you have any messages for the Glasgow supporters back here?
Just thanks for the thanks for maintaining support through through the difficult period, and also I just hope that everyone's staying safe wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I hope you're staying safe and keeping away from the big bad virus. Anyway, looking forward to seeing everyone hopefully in 2021.
Connor Bader, look after yourself. We'll keep tabs on what you're up to down under via social media, and we'll take a particular interest every time you climb aboard that bike and and put it through its paces. And look after yourself. Stay safe. Regards to mum and dad. Apologies to anyone if you heard my dog barking earlier when I was talking to Connor. I'll apologies for that. And Connor, keep in touch, and we'll maybe catch up with you again before next season.
Yeah, no worries. Stay safe, and look forward to speaking to you again.